You know, I've been alive for like almost 30 years now. I've seen a lot of companies really do some stupid shit. I've never seen a company commit straight up neck rope so goddamn fast. It's honestly funny. I can't stop watching. It's like watching a unicorn turn inside out.
Give me money, give me money, give me money, give me money, give me money.
Oh, you know what time it is. Shield time! If you look down in the description, you'll see a link to a Patreon, a Rumble, and a Discord server. If you want to see the uncut versions of these videos, go ahead check out the Rumble. I cut these videos to fit YouTube's wonderful content policies, so if you'd like to see all the spicier jokes and things that YouTube would beat me with a spoon over, go ahead check that out. If you want to come hang out or chat or tell me I'm a fucking retard, go ahead and give the Discord server a look. And finally, if you think my content is worth it, go ahead and give the Patreon a look. You know, patron subscriptions will encourage me to continue doing this. Maybe so I don't have to get a second job. Don't know. And, you know, it'll just help me improve the quality as well. Anything that goes into the Patreon will go back into the YouTube videos in some way, shape, or form. Also, once I finally get one patron subscriber, I will finally remove the annoying as shit Discord notifications. Marketing. So yeah. Also, if you like the video, go ahead give it a like. If you want to see more of my videos, go ahead and subscribe. And if you want to annoy your friends with my amazing voice or my squeaky chair, go ahead and share it. All right, back to the video. Well, so I didn't expect to be making this video. I actually had another video I was working on, and I'm still working on, but that one requires a lot more technical doohinkery than I'm normally used to, so I haven't really made much progress on it since recording, but keep an eye out for that. But I want to talk about this, and it's technically, I'm announcing a channel update. I am no longer going to be pushing my Discord server. It will still exist for now. We'll see how things go in March, but I'm going to be largely promoting a new server that I have made for my channel on a platform called Root. And that's going to be what I'm plugging from now on, and the reason being, I think we all know this right now, Discord did an oopsie poopsie on purpose. I don't know how else to put it. They done fucked up. They shot themselves in the balls. This is a little personal for me, though, and I will get into this, but I want to talk a bit about the whole Discord thing in general and kind of how this relates to a few other things. In case you don't know, which if you don't know, what rock are you living under? You're probably fucking, I don't know, are you still using Windows 95? Discord recently announced that they are taking their ID verification system that they originally introduced to appease the EU, the UK, and Australia, and they are making it global starting in March, and I have never seen such a shit show. Honest to God, I thought that the Helldivers boycott from 2 years ago was insane. Nah, this was insane. Overnight, I watched that company burn itself to the ground, essentially. You know, obviously people have been canceling their Nitro subscriptions in mass. People are straight up just deleting their Discord accounts in mass. I watched Discord's Twitter. Oh God, they got roasted. It was honestly entertaining. It was like watching a unicorn turn inside out. You couldn't look away. But this kind of touches on something, a bigger problem that we're going to be looking at large, because there's actually, so in case you didn't know this either, the reason Discord started pushing this is because Australia and the UK started passing law, or Australia, the UK, and the EU started passing laws to essentially force people to ID verify to use platforms of that nature to protect the kids. And I will say this right now too, for us in the States here who think we're, how do I put this? Several states have independently passed similar policies. Yeah. We're not innocent of this one either. We are far from innocent of this one. And there has been at least a couple of policies introduced on the state or on the federal level that would result in a similar thing. So Discord, because of this, they implemented this ID/face scan verification system where essentially you have to show them your government ID to verify that you are an adult, or you can do a face scan, which is AI powered. Now Discord has claimed that, because there was a leak in October on the Australian version where 70,000 IDs got leaked. So with this new update of them making this a global thing, Discord has stated, oh, they're not going to store your data, that they delete it right away, and that the face scans would stay on your device. And within not even 24 hours, that was revealed to be a lie, because you see, it turns out that Discord's going through a third-party system, which their third-party system that they're going through actively, straight up stores. It's a requirement they store that information. I have reported Discord to the FTC for false advertising. For that alone. Because that's illegal. They lied about how they're handling this situation. And yeah, it's just overall a mess. But there's a few caveats, just a few things that I want to touch, because there's a bigger picture going on here, and this is more than just Discord. We're already seeing a lot of this, and we're only gonna see more. Like I said, I brought up that several states have already passed similar policies. The states were heading this. The states had actually started I believe, if I remember correctly. I might be getting my timeline a little wrong, but I remember this all kind of goes back to that one Australian feminist group that was bitching and whining and moaning, and somehow that resulted in a bunch of places wanting to pass policies that would require you to ID verify to access certain websites. And I believe it sticks in my head that several states in the US started implementing similar laws before that exploded. So, sorry, we kind of spearheaded this one. Just that we spearheaded it, it's just that all the Euro-cuck countries kind of outpaced us. Thank God for the complications of our republic sometimes. Anybody who is worth 2 cents is smart enough to know this has nothing to do with protecting children. Because when you look into these policies, into these systems that are implemented, especially in Discord's case, it doesn't protect anybody, actually. Because, as we know, with the big meme with the Discord system is that the face scan can literally be passed with a Gmod character, or people managing to get ID verified using the fake driver's license from SpongeBob. That's gonna be a fun one. You can tell when a policy is actually about protecting kids based entirely off of how the policy operates. What does it actually do? The actual policies, the actual laws that exist to protect kids, they pretty much always put the responsibility on the parents, because there's an understanding that kids are a parent's responsibility, and parents are best equipped to enforce it. Parents are also the adults that understand the weight of the law. So, a good example of this would be, let me think here. This isn't exactly a child safety thing, but it's, a kid has to be educated. In the US, a child has to be educated. How is this enforced? Well, the responsibility is entirely on the parents. parents understand the weight of the law, the parents understand how to set this all up accordingly, and since they are literally the direct supervision of the children, they are the ones best equipped to enforce it. Laws that actually seek to protect children will function similarly. It puts the responsibility on the parents to understand the law, to understand how to enforce the law, and to execute that law accordingly. And if they fail to do so, they are the ones held responsible, which does actually have a negative effect on the kids. So, kids need their parents, and if their parents get in trouble, that kind of screws the kids over. But I digress. However, a lot of the child safety laws that we're seeing, especially like these, are entirely dependent on tracking the information of adults. We need to protect the kids, so let us target the adults. Let us track the adults. Let's make the adults have to verify. And this is where my problem lies. See, I'm not entirely against the idea of there being regulations to keep children off of certain platforms. I'm not against that at all. In fact, dare I say, I hate the idea that 13-year-olds can just hop on the internet. If I had my way, you'd need to be at least 16 to even make an email. Kids should not be on the internet. I strongly believe the internet should be the adult's playground. If kids are going to use it, it needs to be under parental supervision. They should not be allowed to use accounts or interact with the internet at large until such time as they are 16 and deemed mature enough by their parents. Why do I say this? Well, one, obviously, we have a huge problem on the internet with child abuse. This is a massive fucking problem. Everybody knows this. And largely the only reason it even works is because kids are on the internet. If kids couldn't access the internet, that would immediately solve that problem and make it a lot harder for these predators to do a goddamn thing. Another reason that I have a problem with kids on the internet, okay? A big reason is because they join communities, they go on websites that, aren't hosting adult content, like a video game Discord, for example. They go into these communities, like let's say, Helldivers Discord, which is going to be mostly people who are at least 16 and up, and then you get a bunch of 13-year-olds. They don't know how to interact with people. They are annoying, snobby little brats. They cause problems. They disrupt everything, and they are just genuinely unpleasant to be around. I'm sorry, newsflash to y'all, adults don't want to hang around kids. Another newsflash to y'all, the internet is largely a tool for adults, always has been. The internet was developed by the US military, for God's sake. This is a military project gone public. Who has internet? People who can pay for internet. People who can afford computers. Who pays for internet and affords computers? Adults. And the occasional 16-year-old that land himself a banger job. "13-year-olds ain't paying for their fucking Wi-Fi bill." So yeah, this is an adult space. This is a place where some level of maturity is kind of required and expected, and children don't meet that. Children don't know how to socialize, especially nowadays. And that's not just a Gen Alpha thing. I've largely spent the majority of my time as a kid socially awkward as shit, more so than others. I was homeschooled and largely didn't interact with other kids going outside, or living my life for shit. Yeah, that's just kids don't know how to socialize. They barely know how to get along with each other. That's why you have to supervise them. So you have a bunch of people who are completely immature, don't know how to socialize, and on top of that, they don't understand safety. 13-year-olds don't understand the risk they are at around adults, unsupervised. 13-year-olds don't understand the risks of what they're putting themselves into. They just barrel into it like a freight train. And who's responsible for them? Us. The adults in the room, because we're the adults. We're the ones who are capable of understanding the situation and are held responsible for our actions and the consequences of our actions. So, you have a bunch of kids who don't know what they're doing, don't understand, and largely can't be held responsible, barreling into these communities, barreling into these social groups, and causing problems, and we need to be responsible for them as the adults. And on top of that, we don't even want to hang around these kids. Again, they don't know how to socialize. They're snobby, annoying, loud little brats. I'm saying this as somebody who is very damn well aware that I get loud. They're just disruptive. I don't want to hang around kids. Most adults don't want to hang around kids. But on the internet, we have to, for some reason, gear everything to be child safe. I think that the much better solution would just be to not allow kids on the internet enforced by parents. Let them use Wikipedia and let them watch YouTube without an account. I'm fine with that. They don't need to be joining Discord. Kids don't need to be joining Discord. Kids don't need to be on Twitter. Kids don't need to be making YouTubes. I mean, honestly, kids shouldn't be on most of the fucking video game lobbies they're in half the time either. Yeah, I get it. Gen Z, we all grew up in COD lobbies and shit. Yeah. And while that has done some things for us as a generation that I think are somewhat beneficial, at the same time, if I was a dad, I sure as hell ain't letting my kid play multiplayer games. Screw that. No, I know what sort of shit goes on in those lobbies. I know the things that me and my buddies say when we're dropping on Cyberstand. I don't want my kid hearing that. I don't have a kid, but if I did, you get the idea. I haven't filled out a CO1 permit. But no, the solution that the government and these companies are pushing for is monitor the adults, and that's the thing. Kids don't have information to monitor, not like that. Who does? Adults, because it's not about protecting the kids, it's about tracking you. Australia wants to know what you're doing. The EU wants to know what you're doing. The UK wants to know what you're doing. Parts of the US do too, but there's enough of the US that values privacy right now to fight against it and keep it at least at a slow, crawling pace. But it's still there. They still want to track you too, because they want to know what you do. They want to have monitoring control of your entire life. They want to know everything you do. For one simple reason: control. There's a reason that religion worked so well at keeping societies in check. That's because the belief of higher powers that were capable of knowing everything you did and judging it kept people in check. The government wants to do that. The government knows if it knows what you're doing, it can control what you're doing. And if you know the government knows, that'll control what you're doing too. How many people you want to think are either going to verify or just stop going into communities that would require verification? Both of which the government's happy with, by the way. Bunch of fucking boomers. They don't like the idea of these adult communities. And I'm not talking about the police. I don't like them. I fucking hate that shit. But this also covers violent video games. I'm in the Doom Discord. I'd have to ID verify to continue being in the Doom Discord. The boomers don't like the violent video games, so they would rather be able to track everything I'm doing in there, so that the second that I do something they don't like in this community, they can go after me for being a violent person. Or I just can't go there, thus making sure that the content and the video game that they don't like suffers. It's about control. And Discord isn't innocent in this either. I've heard a few people try to defend Discord right now. I'm surprised at how little known of a fact this is. The guy who initially founded Discord when it started up back in 2014, 2015, this was his second attempt at an app. His first one, he was sued and had to shut down because he was illegally collecting user information and selling it. And Discord did the exact same thing. Discord's always collected and sold information. And here's the thing. I get it. Your information's already out there, already available for purchase. Government already has. I know that. Everybody knows that. Does that mean we should put up with it? Fuck no. Fuck no. I remember this actually came up during the PSN bullshit with Helldivers because people were complaining about Sony, the Sony leaks and how that would get their information out there. And I actually, at that time, I had said, well, it's already out there. I made that argument. There's a difference between that and this. That's just an email. If you did what I did at the time and you didn't even put in your credit card number, that's a burner email. This is your face and your driver's license. And Discord is one of the most insecure companies with your information. So yeah, there's a lot of companies that already have that shit and are already selling it. But you don't need a leaky pipe like Discord. Because here's the thing, those companies, you can actually go, if you know what you're doing, you can go to these information brokers and by law, you can demand them to stop selling your information. They have to. You can actually get your information off that market. You know which market you can't get it off of? The black market. And those leaks are not going to companies, buddy. Those leaks are going to hackers. And they're not going to stop selling your information. They're already breaking the law. You think they're going to give a shit? Fuck no. Not until there's a cop breaking in their door. That's the other thing about this. The government wants this for control, and Discord wants this for money. This is not about kids. This is not about protecting kids. Again, you want a policy that protects kids? Keep kids off the internet. There's a policy that'll protect kids, and it's a lot easier to implement and enforce. This is... If we're talking about protecting kids, these policies, these laws, these are the most inefficient way to do it. These all require the establishment of brand new infrastructure, cooperation between multiple different law enforcement agencies, in the terms of, government. This costs money and time and resources. This is a very inefficient way, and it doesn't even work. It doesn't even protect kids. And kids are still getting... Okay. You know what the predators are going to do? Just mark their servers as safe for work and be smart about it. This isn't going to solve anything. And, this ain't going to stop the kids either. Let's not pretend like the kids are innocent. Kids have been sneaking onto porn websites since the internet was a fucking thing. You think that they're not going to find a way around this? People have already found exploits to Discord's new system. They already figured it out. It's because it's not about protecting kids. It's about control and money. It's about you. It's about controlling you. The thing is, this is only gonna get worse. It's downhill from here. Governments are pushing for more control and more monitoring of their citizenry. And there just isn't enough clapback. There isn't enough force to stop it. It's annoying. It's annoying, but I mean, every time something like this happens, you have enough people going, oh, well, you need to use your ID to buy alcohol and drive a car and this. Yes, but there's a difference between showing my ID to a cashier and plugging it into a system that is known to be insecure, and a system that is known to be under government subpoena. Okay, maybe the government ain't spying on you 24/7, but all it takes is a court order. All it takes is a court order, and all of a sudden, boom, all that information that Discord's claimed to have deleted just magically shows up in their fucking folders. Like, oh, they suddenly have it. There's a big difference between those two. There's another piece about this with the Discord thing, and this is where it gets personal for me. And I have to talk about this, because this is infuriating. It pissed me the hell off, and I think you guys will have a good laugh with this. So, like I stated earlier, a lot, and I mean a lot of people started canceling their Nitro subscriptions in retaliation. I was one of those people. Yes, surprise, I had a Nitro. And I canceled it. I'm like, I'm not paying for this, fuck you. Within minutes, I think like a minute or two of me canceling my Nitro subscription, my account got a violation on it for hateful conduct. And the violation was marked for 856 days ago. As of the time that this happened, which was 2 days ago. And I had to sit there and go, what the hell? This account is, that's like over 2 years. That's like as old, if not older than the account. What the shit? So I put in an appeal. And within an hour, the appeal got removed. This was like, oh yeah, no, we reviewed the thing that got flagged, which, by the way, they didn't even show me the message that got flagged. Oh, we reviewed this, and we have come to the conclusion that, yeah, this did not break our policies, and this was out of order. And so they removed the appeal. Or they removed the violation. And then immediately, they reactivated the very first appeal on my account from 2 years ago. I tried to appeal that one. The appeal system was bugged. I tried to go through their support website. Each time it was almost immediately closed by their auto mod. I had to trick it just to get past the auto mod, and then nobody looked at it. Just sat there open. I went on Discord. I messaged their support. I started pinging their support. I started harassing their support. Because they ghosted me there too, even when I started off perfectly fine and respectful. I started commenting on their post and cataloging what Discord was doing to me publicly for everybody to see. And I started doing a bit of looking, and apparently I wasn't the only one dealing with this problem. Which a lot of people, now I can't confirm this, but a lot of people have come to a similar conclusion as me. This sounds an awful lot like Discord is actively trying to lock the accounts of people who canceled Nitro in an attempt to save face. They saw there was a boycott and they were going to try and shut it up as much as they could by shutting them up on their own platform. That's the conclusion that a lot of people have come to, and I was one of the people they shut up. My account is no longer locked. It died after 2 days, which is how long they initially locked it for the fucking false violation, and this pissed me off. I am very, very pissed off at Discord right now. So I have decided to make a new server on a platform called Root. Now, I've actually gotten to talk to one of the moderators for Root's community. They don't read your messages. They don't spy on you. They don't record your calls. They don't have ID verification. Now, they've also said that for a private community, okay, what they said is that their terms of service are a guideline for, and this is from one of the moderators in their primary server. The terms of service are a guideline for public servers, and that the developers don't record your calls, they don't spy your messages, the only messages they see are in servers that they're in. And he told me to, and I quote, do with that information what I will. Which was the moderator telling me in a way that would not get him fired that I can basically do whatever I want in a private server. What is a private server? It is entirely based on how people get invited. And so as long as I am regulating who gets to join, I'm in control of that, and it's a private server. So I have made a root server for my community. Now, to keep with the private community thing, the only way that you will get access from here on out is going to be through my Discord. So you will have to join the Discord to get access to the root. That's my workaround right now. So for the time being, the Discord server will stay up. I will stay active in it. I will still using it. We will see how things go in March. speaking of March, this is the last thing I want to touch on. There is a lot of people going around thinking, not claiming this will happen, but there's people believing that there's a chance that Discord will walk this back due to the backlash, similar to what they did with the NFT thing. And while the backlash they're getting for this ID system is, without a shadow of a doubt, far more than they got with the NFTs, I'm not hopeful that they'll walk this back for two reasons. One, again, a lot of similar policies to what the EU has and what Australia and the UK have passed are on the table in the US. So I think a big part of why Discord chose to make this decision boils down to they see the writing on the wall and that this is going to be the global norm anyways, so just get ahead of it so that when it does become the global norm, they already have everything instituted. This leads into the second reason I don't have a lot of hope for this. Governments are pushing for this. The EU wanted Discord to implement this system. The UK wanted Discord to implement this system. Australia wanted Discord to implement this system. And there's a bit of a thing going on the global stage with America's current push to be more America-focused instead of globally focused, especially economically. A lot of companies that have global consumer bases are starting to look... I had a conversation about this. Before, it used to be in order to succeed on the global market, you had to succeed in the American market. Now, it is you either succeed on the global market or you succeed in the American market. That's how a lot of companies are seeing it. So a lot of companies are looking at the American market right now, and they're actually weighing it against the global market. So you're going to see a lot of companies make business decisions that are going to be more geared towards European nations because they are looking at European nations as more profitable choices because we've had a globalist economy for so long, and that's how a lot of these places are operating. This is going to be a very big thing, and this is why I don't think Discord's going to walk it back. The infrastructure needed to give Americans special privileges would be very hard. Especially when they're most likely especially when the US is most likely going to end up with a similar policy at some point, at least on the state level. With governments pushing this, with the writing on the wall clearly going towards being monitored more everywhere, no matter what country, I don't think Discord's going to walk this decision back. And also because of that same reason, I have a sneaking suspicion that other platforms like Root are gonna have to do something similar at some point. So I've been looking at Discord alternatives for a plethora of my communities. The two that I have settled on are Root and Stout. Root I've already talked about a bit. You know, it's a good privacy geared service, etc., etc. It's mainly the big thing is they're not going to spy on your messages, and then they're not requiring ID verification. That, and if you use a Discord template, you can port your server over to Root, and that's why I'm using that for my Discord. It's the most efficient and the best established for something like a YouTube community. Stout is an open source clone of Discord. You can literally look at the code, and a lot of the stuff that Discord has locked behind Nitro, Stout gives you for free. And I think they're both good alternatives, but the issue here is, again, this is a global phenomenon. A lot of countries are pushing these policies. And the majority of the countries that these places are going to be operating in are what's pushing it. So I have a sneaking suspicion that all these alternatives are going to end up in a situation where they're going to have similar policies. They're going to have to start asking for ID verification too. It sucks. And I'm not saying roll over and take it. We should be fighting against this tooth and nail. If you're in the US, we should be really pushing against these policies. But as is, we're probably going to have to deal with this regardless. By all means, push it off. That's what I'm doing. I strongly am advocating push off the inevitable as much as we can. It's still probably inevitable. That's the problem. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, and please consider subscribing to the channel for more of this stupid nonsense. Also, if you'd like to hang out or just call me a stupid idiot dummy face, go ahead and check out the Discord. And if you'd like to support more content like this, go ahead and give out the Patreon a check. I hope y'all have yourselves a good day.